Hello and welcome to another edition of the Hughes at 10. We're going all the way to the end of lockdown. Yeah, I didn't think I'd make it this far without missing an episode for some tragic reason or maybe technical failure. I don't know. We've had a little bit of that. We had one where the camera didn't work. We've had one where the mic didn't work for a bit, but we managed to sort it out. My top tech team of Mr. Monkey, top technician. Thank you very much, Mr. Monkey. Anyway, so hello everyone. Hello David. Hello John. Hello Attila. Hello 95 Winston. Hello John Barleycorn. Hello Redundant Squash. Hello Sugar Free. Hello Tom Monk from Georgia in the USA. That's going to be the most important state in the world for the next 6 weeks, I think, until the election of the last two senators to the US Senate, which will decide who has basically the right of way for the next 4 years of actually making any laws. Well, 2 years maybe, but yeah, wow. We've got everyone's saying where from. So we've got Devon there, we've got Dover. Attila's down in Dover. We're gonna have to do something about those crossings when we have our no deal Brexit in what is it now? 6 weeks time. Is Rishi Sunak hiding any gains from the vaccine? Boris thinks he has personally done a great job of sorting the vaccine order. Boris thinks that everything he does is a great job. He high fives himself after taking a shit. He's like, yes, I did a shit. And you're like, Boris, yeah, shat on the floor again, you massive tit. And he's like, but wasn't it wonderful? Wasn't it the best? Wasn't it absolutely incredible? And it was just, and you're like, but it was terrible. It was awful. You made your mother cry and you made someone run outside and be sick all over the floor. Now, that floor's also messed up now, Boris. Yeah, but it was great, wasn't it? Wasn't it absolutely fantastic that time? We killed 70,000 people and gave our mates loads of money and completely got away with it because of one Labour MP who just decided he should be, like, I don't know, the centre of attention all the fucking time. Even when we want the tabloid press, the scumbag press to be finally turning on the Tories. Like the Mail had a thing today about Tory graft, and it was like, yes, I think even the Tory graft had something about Tory graft in it. And yet, all day, all I heard was Corbyn. Although I might have been a bit hasty yesterday when I cut up my Labour card. I might have to stick it together because Keir has said that Corbyn can't be an MP anymore for the Labour Party. He's had to withdraw. So I'll be sticking that together with glue. It's all right, or a bit of sellotape. So it doesn't have an electronic code on the back or anything. Ask them for another one. It's only card. Right, so back to your messages. Hello from an unelected bureaucrat in Brussels. Oh, I hate those unelected bureaucrats doing things to make my country wealthier and more powerful. What I want is British unelected bureaucrats who went to private school and are boss mates with the Prime Minister and get massive, big handouts from the state. And we're not talking about a can of beans for a starving child over Christmas. We're talking £21 million to a fashion designer in Miami for making a phone call. And I can't get away from that. I'm sorry. But if there are any Tory voters not watching this, obviously, but if there are any Tory voters that you know, and your friends or your family, just keep bashing them over the head with this. If their response to COVID, if the impending Brexit catastrophe is not enough to convince them, you're going to have to go with this. You're going to have to say, okay, this is the moment that you have to admit the Tories are a bunch of crooks that are just out to line their own pockets with the nation's gold. Well, not gold, but money, fortune, riches. Okay, so Tom's saying, I think Lindsey Graham might have royally screwed up here in Georgia. I would like to know what he's done, because I know he was trying to interfere in the electoral process, and that made me quite excited because it made me think, hang on, does that mean that the gelatinous blob that is Lindsey Graham might be going to jail for breaking the law? I'm pretty sure that interfering in the electoral process as a politician, as a senator, is impeachable. It's an impeachable offence. Pretty sure about that. So yeah, maybe if Tom could give me a bit more info about that, that'd be cool. He bought the ones that need cold and refrigeration. He did. So the vaccines we're going to get, which are 95% effective, which is good, have to be kept at temperatures of -80, which is bad because, okay, that's doable if you're just bringing it over quickly across the channel. But we're not going to bring anything quickly over the channel next year. It's all going to be really slow. It's all going to be stuck in bloody traffic. And they're like, oh, maybe you could fly it over. And I'm like, you fly over millions of doses of vaccine, but okay, yeah, if that's what you want to do, rather than do the infinitely cheaper option of bringing it in a truck like we used to, that's fine. That's fine with me. It's not fine. I'm lying. I hate it. I hate all of them. So we got Nima, who's from Germany. Hi. So we've got Germany there. We got Pyro Cinderus. I'm saying that wrong, probably, aren't I? I'm from Brighton myself. Okay, excellent. I love Brighton. Love a bit of Brighton. Wayne's from Basildon, but we know that. Yeah, I'm from Basildon, but you know that already. Wayne's my second favourite person on from Basildon. My first favourite person, I can't say on the video, or YouTube restricts the adverts that are allowed to be shown on the video. I probably shouldn't have said the F word earlier. Actually, I'll probably get into trouble for that. Right, don't forget to wipe your arse after. I don't think Boris Johnson has ever wiped his own arse. He's always got someone else to do it for him. Carrie, Dom, I think they had a bit of a fight over it recently. Who got to do it? Who had the honour? Manchester is the south in the north. That is kind of true. But when we talk about this north-south divide, we kind of forget that there's the Midlands in the middle, which are the Midlands. So people are trying to draw a line going, right, that's north and that's south. And I'm like, yeah, but there's a big chunk in the middle, literally called the Middle Lands, like in the middle of the north. And just saying, anything north of Liverpool and Sheffield, draw a line from Liverpool to Sheffield across the mountains. That's all north, okay? Anything below that is Midlands, and then until you get too far down, and that's south, except for like Norfolk and Suffolk, because they're just weird little places off in their own realm. They're like that house from Game of Thrones that no one ever really gave any attention to because it wasn't that interesting. Okay, the Tories never criticised Labour. What? You know, they don't have to. There's enough Labour people doing that. The Tories never criticised Labour on policy, only on ad hominem. I know. Well, if anyone saw Prime Minister's Question Time today, which was a fucking disgrace. First of all, tell you why it was a disgrace. Not just the usual disgrace of Boris Johnson not answering any of Keir Starmer's questions, or Boris Johnson saying he's very proud of the monumental catastrophe that was the PPE rollout for these contracts, that if you were mates with the people in charge of the country, like if you went to school with them, you were 10 times more likely to get the contract, and these contracts weren't put out to tender. Is that like the most crooked thing I can think of? The only word I can think of to describe it is a heist. It's like Grand Theft Britannia. That's basically what the book about this Tory government should be called. They have stolen so much money, and it hasn't even stayed in the country. Loads of it's gone to other countries. It's gone to China. It's gone to Miami. It's gone to what? How? Have you, yeah. But the biggest thing that's really got me was this, right? Jacob Rees-Mogg, who I keep saying about like people being the worst people in the world, or maybe the worst people in hell. I mean, this guy is on so many rungs down in hell. Like we need to get Jim'll Paint It or Cold War Steve to do a depiction of hell, you know, from Dante with all the levels of hell, and we've got all the Tory ministers in there. And Jacob Rees-Mogg, I think, would be right at the bottom. I think he'll be like right in the very bottom, next to the cyber demon and the spider demon, which sounds a bit similar, but they're different baddies. Yeah, Jacob Rees-Mogg is leader of the House. And so what that means is he's in charge of basically the admin of the House, I guess. One of the things he likes to do is make people come into the House to participate in a debate. Unless it's the Prime Minister, who is taking time off from his duties of being in the Parliament building because he might have COVID or he's protecting from COVID, even though he's had it before and he's also just had a negative test, so he probably doesn't have it. But let's err on the side of caution, and I'm not knocking that. What I'm knocking is the fact that the Prime Minister could appear by video conferencing, right, to answer Prime Minister's questions, and yet one of the Labour MPs who is suffering from breast cancer right now and is receiving treatment for breast cancer and has undergone operations and all kinds. She wasn't allowed to go to the debate this week about breast cancer because she's being treated for breast cancer. And she could have attended it by video, but Jacob Rees-Mogg said, no, we're not going to have that. No. We need to maintain the traditions of the House. Fucking arsehole. Right. So, yeah, another one off the Christmas card list. Okay, you can download, Attila's saying you can download a virtual membership card. You got Cummings, the difference being I don't have any say in policy, I'm just an IT guy. Well, I think the IT guys working for the Russian government have a lot of say over our democracy, funnily enough. Because if they took the argument to policy, they'll lose the argument. Yeah, I know. But then Prime Minister Johnson today whining about, why don't you support us? You never support us. You should support us. And Keir Starmer just went, hang on, dickhead. We voted with you to bring in lockdown. Load of your MPs didn't. They defied a 3-line whip to not vote with you. Why are you saying we don't support you? If you're being sensible and bringing in a lockdown, we'll support you. Oh, we said it should have been done a month earlier. Oh, Captain Hindsight, eh? Captain Hindsight. No, we told you at the time, you fuck monkey. Oh, I wish they could swear in Parliament. It'd be so much more entertaining. Or come out with like old-fashioned insults that are still permitted in Parliament. That's what they should come out with for Boris Johnson. And what I really want Starmer to do is only ask one less question than he needs to, and then just leave it. And so Boris Johnson doesn't get to do his grandstanding on his last question, because it's really, really getting quite irritating now. Well, Boris Johnson's quite irritating at the best of times, so, you know. Serious question. Is Keir actually capable of winning the next election? That's from Roger King. Not on his own. Not on his own. He needs the SNP. He needs Lib Dems. He needs the Greens. Look at the stats. Look at the polls. The Lib Dems and the Greens take about 10% of the vote. Add that to the 40% that Labour's on. It'll be a whitewash. The Tories will be wiped away. It'll be like 1997 all over again. The Tories will be left with 163 MPs, and that'll be it. Yeah, it could be done, but only if there's an alliance. And Starmer's got to get his house in order, and a good step on the road to that is keeping the whip away from Jeremy Corbyn, making sure that he knows that he's persona non grata. And I think that there needs to be, I don't know what more he can do, because it's not up to him who has membership of Labour, but when someone has brought the party into disrepute to such a degree, and they're allowed back in after an expedited appeals process of 11 days or something, it's just like, whoa, that was quick. What? Everyone else is like, their appeals take years, but Jeremy Corbyn, he's back in there. God, brilliant, Jeremy. I can't wait till he stands up and makes a really boring speech and everyone falls asleep. And just going to reiterate now that this time last year, Jeremy Corbyn was the least popular politician, leader of a major Democratic Party, the least popular in the world. In the motherfucking world. So 10%, minus 10, that was Trump. Trump was on minus 10 approval. Corbyn was minus 40. And it went down to minus 60 at one point, one poll. Minus 60. Literally hardly anyone thought he was doing a good job. But the ones who do think he does a good job are just really loud on the internet. They're just all over Twitter telling everyone that St. Jeremy is the Messiah and blah, 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 blah. And calling anyone who doesn't see the holiness of Corbyn's light a Tory, which is really ironic in a way, because these people are more responsible for the Tories having such a massive majority in the House of Commons now than anybody else, really, because we tried to help. We Remainers said, let's all band together and we'll all take out the Tories, and Labour under Corbyn collectively said no, and their acolytes, their followers on Facebook and Twitter, told us to fuck off and join the Tories, which we didn't do, as I've explained in another video, but I'm not going to vote for a party that tells me to fuck off. You know, that's why I don't vote Tory. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Can't North of England join Scotland and leave the UK? No, I'm afraid. No, maybe Northumberland or Northumbria. I can never remember which one it is these days. But yeah, maybe that bit, because Hadrian's Wall kind of goes, doesn't it? It's like Carlisle over to Newcastle almost, whereas the actual border with Scotland goes up in a diagonal line, and you've got that wedge that would need to go back to Scotland, and then we could just sort of pop over the Tyne and be like, you're in Scotland. But yeah, not going to happen. Forget about it. Just Scotland gets independence, Ireland reunited, Wales independence, and then finally little England will come to its senses once enough old people are dead, and we'll rejoin the EU. I didn't say that about old people. I mean, that would be really prejudiced of me and ageist, and I'm not ageist. Maybe a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, so it does seem a bit of a failing on Labour's part. Yeah, we've got 4 years, mate. We've got 4 years till the next election. I don't know why I'm laughing. I'm crying inside. Oh, this is off Tom Monkey saying, well, Lindsay called our Secretary of State and suggested that he find a way to lose a few valid votes in counties that went to Biden. That's against the law. I want him to go down. I want him to go down to Death Town. No, to jail. To Sing Sing. Alcatraz. Reopen Alcatraz and make it just for politicians. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Hi, Graham from Lithuania. Hey, I got Lithuanian. Lithuania is one of my favorite places in the world. The capital is Vilnius, and they have in Vilnius train station, I think it was in Vilnius train station, they've got a massive statue of Tony Soprano from The Sopranos, dressed in a dressing gown with, I think he's got a cup of coffee. It's the best thing ever. Yeah. Oh my God. What a wonderful place. Okay. So moving down, to be fair, Pfizer developed a box to transport their vaccine, which means it would last 10 days, ideal for transport to Africa and the UK. Well, there you go. Good old Pfizer. Keeping the British end up. Oh, there's loads of messages here that I've just missed out. Graham called 3 states to check on their elections, all of which were won by Biden. Yeah. I didn't. Sorry, that's Lindsay Graham Lindsay, whatever his name is. It's one of those people with those interchangeable names where they could go either way around, like Harrison Ford. I'm from Spain, but I've lived 7 happy years as a chef in beautiful Keswick. Oh, well, Roger, very good. Bueno. Wayne is saying, also, he was my old next door neighbour. I don't know who you're talking about there, Wayne. I must have missed a little bit. Hi, Graham from Scotland. Hello, Scotland. We love you. We really do love you, Scotland. Please leave us. I mean that in the most affectionate way. Please leave us and don't look back. Just when you love someone, you let them go. Just don't look back, Scotland. Just join the EU and take me with you. Have you noticed the whole of Africa has an official death toll of 48,112 deaths to COVID-19 with a population of it's 1.3 billion. Yet the UK has a total death of 53,274 with a population of 65 million. That's from Alex Morrison. He's absolutely right. And also, what's it called? The excess deaths is 70,000. 70,000 excess deaths. Jesus Christ. What? And people go, no, it's just like the flu. It's just like the flu. Just like, can't win. This is why I like doing this. It's just like, I just get to get all this off my chest. Talk to a lot of people who by and large seem to agree with me about things. Thanks, everyone. And then we get the occasional person who comes on and goes, I hate you, or trying to, I don't know, promote porn or something. I have to block them. Getting the vaccine in at -80 is one problem. Having the systems in place to handle it when it has to be distributed distributors will be a bigger problem, says John O'Sullivan. He's right. We need competent people in charge to distribute the vaccine. And we don't have competent people in charge. We just got a load of thieves, basically. You know, like at the beginning of The Dark Knight, when they've got all the thieves in the bank and the Joker's getting them all to pick each other off one by one. That's the Tory party. They're like, I'm going to get the money. No, I'm going to get the money. No, the money's coming to me. Oh, God. Bojo never answers questions. No, but he does. He answers them with sounds out of his mouth, but they don't actually tell you what the correct thing is. They just tell you a bunch of lies. Just these lies and just crazy fables and misogyny and racism and prejudice and this tub-thumping nationalism. It's absolute bollocks. And everything he says about it is it's remarkable how that man can lie. Every other word he says is a lie, a barefaced lie. He is the most accomplished liar. This is a line by Rory Stewart. He says he's the most accomplished liar in the history of British politics. Oh my God. And that's quite a crowded field. Grand Theft Autocrat. Oh, that's brilliant, Jim. Oh, I'm taking that to the bank. That is, Jim's won the internet tonight. Well done, Jim. Grand Theft Autocrat. Oh, I love it. That is brilliant. That's what we're in. That should be the headline of the newspapers tomorrow, shouldn't it? This is why we should run the country. God damn it. Run the press, run all the posh schools, run all the parliaments, and just run everything into the ground. If it was legal under the Coronavirus Act 2020, as is preventing demonstrations, it was all legal under the Coronavirus Act 2020, as is preventing demonstrations and public gatherings. Well, that's it. It can't be legal in the court of popular opinion, hey? Because that's what should matter at the end of the day, especially if we're going to foment a popular uprising at some point next year. Only needing one doctor to get sectioned. Ooh. That's the weirdest line, wasn't it? From Nigel Farage was trying to promote Trump. And he said, if he wins this next election, it'll be Trump with the straitjacket taken off. And you're like, Trump with the straitjacket taken off. So you're saying he's mad and is in a straitjacket at the moment, and you want to let him out of that straitjacket into the... Oh, my God. Aye. Are you certain that number is correct? That's from... I think we're talking about Tom Monk. Is that the African number, or is that something else? It was a Tory MP with breast cancer. Oh, sorry, Jim. Sorry, Tory MP. Even worse. No, not even worse. Just still fucking awful. So he wouldn't let someone in his own party take part in a debate about breast cancer who had breast cancer because I mean, look, Jacob Rees-Mogg thinks that if you're raped, you should be forced to have your rapist child, smash its way out of you. Captain Hindsight says Major Fuck Up. That is just his name, is it? Major Fuck Up. That's the number from the CDC. Johnson. Oh God, my list keeps just jumping around. Oh, very excited. Tell you what, while I'm reading the next message, if you just want to give me a quick thumbs up, so we can try and get the thumbs up to the number of the people watching, that'll be fantastic. That'll make me look much better than I actually am at this. Thank you. Tom says, I don't see Corbyn's appeal to anyone. Neither do I. Yeah, but I never saw the appeal of Pete Doherty. I thought he was just a talentless wanker who couldn't sing for shit. He was dead posh as well. He pretended to be all like, and I just like, just common man. And I'm like, no, you're not, mate. You went to fucking Oxford. Shut up. But yeah, and Russell Brand as well. And I'm just trying to think of some other people who've been like in a cult leaders. It's very rarely women, isn't it? It's very rarely women. I saw someone make a list of national treasures that we need to protect from 2020, and it was all men. And we were like, are there no female national treasures? Like, I don't know, Judi Dench or someone? Or God heaven forbid, the Queen? Nah, fuck them. I'm sure Susie Dent can come up with some old words, suitable insults that would get you past the parliamentary censor. Oh, yeah, good point. Let's give Susie Dent a call off countdown. I have an English bulldog, the greatest farter on earth. Okay, thanks for that. In 2001, there was a Socialist Alliance ticket for the GE for those who couldn't bear to vote for Blair. That you can make a little rhyme out of that, couldn't you? Daffod there saying coronavirus lockdown breakers with unpaid fines are to be hauled into a special court. Waste of money or should be carried out no matter what. I think that if we had had better leadership, the fines wouldn't be necessary. I think that society would say, okay, this is really serious. We've got to take it seriously. But we don't have the leadership that made us think that it was something to take seriously. First of all, we have Boris Johnson saying, I shake hands with everybody. Look at me. Hello, Philip Schofield and Holly Wallaby. I'll shake your fucking hands. All time funny. Oh, shit, I've got COVID and I'm on a life support machine. Oh, yeah. Okay, everyone, listen. Don't do that. Just don't do that. Meanwhile, while he's on a life support machine, his Bezzy mate, his bum wiper, Dominic Cummings, is on his way up the motorway with COVID. Hey, we're bringing COVID from London to the north. We're going to level up the north to London because London's got a massive outbreak and the north doesn't really. So let's bring the disease to Durham. And I've got my wife. She's also got COVID. And I've got my kid in the back. He might have COVID. He might die. I don't care. Let's just go. Woo! So yeah, people didn't take it seriously, and then they said, "Oh, let's open the pubs and we'll have a big party." And then the Home Office put out a tweet saying, "Hey, why don't you all celebrate the 4th of July?" And they're like, "That's an American holiday, and we've got a virus going on. I don't think people should be celebrating. I think we should be, just trying to be sensible. No, we're going to be open. Everything's going to be open. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be wonderful." And then the second wave came, and Dido Harding goes, "Oh, no one could have possibly seen this." And Nadine Dorry says, "Oh, you need a crystal ball to see the second wave." And then you just get on the internet and you go, "I'm pretty sure someone predicted this." And it turns out Dominic Cummings predicted the second wave on his blog in 1992. He might have doctored his blog to make it look like he predicted it in 1982, but still, you got to give it to him. He doctored his blog. Yeah. So people aren't taking this disease seriously enough. It's because of the leadership that we've got. They're taking it seriously in Australia, where they've got hardly anyone's died comparative with the population size. They're taking it seriously in New Zealand, where hardly anyone's died. They've taken it seriously in Thailand, in Vietnam, in Laos, in Cambodia, in South Korea, in Taiwan, in China. They're taking it seriously. The death toll in China is what? 1/10 of what it is in the UK? 1/10? Less than 1/10? And they have a population of over 1 billion. Okay, whatever. So we're not taking it seriously. There's countries in Africa that are taking it more seriously than we are because they've had Ebola. They've had other diseases that have run rampant through the population. And they know what it's like. They're like, shit, we don't want to get this because we don't want our loved ones to die. It's kind of more important to us than going the fucking pub. Anyway, which is why I'm not doing pubcasts at the moment in real life. Maybe next year. Right, rant over. Back to the messages. Click on the like button. Yes. Thanks, Paul. Paul Hunt says, click on the like button. 52 of you. Thank you. Yorkshire independence. Yes, that's fine with me, Attila. If Yorkshire wants to be independent, I will not stand in its way. Bye. Enjoy your Brexit. Purity tests and enemy lists show how Corbyn would have led imposing his will on the people rather than leading them. It's toxic and divisive. Yeah, purity tested enemy list, yeah. And also Corbyn couldn't make a fucking decision. He was just relied on other people. He was like, that episode of Red Dwarf with the polymorph where it like sucks your emotions out of your head and it sucks all of him as anger out of his head and he turns to this guy with a t-shirt on that says, give Keith a chance, and he's got a beard and a pipe? Yeah, Corbyn. The Committee for the Liberation and Integration of Terrifying Organisms and Their Rehabilitation into Society. I think that's what it was called. Clitoris, yeah. Anyway, so Tony Soprano in Vilnius. I saw a statue of George Washington in Budapest, Hungary. That's so random. George Washington, yeah. He's my favorite person who owned slaves. Or was that Thomas Jefferson, who wrote this big thing like, owning slaves is grossly immoral. And it's like, I've got to go now and tend to my slaves. Hello, Graham. How do you keep going day to day? Is it just anger? No. I might sound angry. I don't know. I try and keep smiling. It's quite depressing seeing the UK fall apart day to day. Scandal after scandal, failure after failure. I love your content, by the way. I think it's that thing of like, you've got to have a bit of a morbid sense of humor about it. I think it's the only way to get through. I'm not going to sit here on the couch and have some sort of long, dark night of the soul. I'll do that when no one's watching. But yeah, I mean, I've got to say, what my friend said to me yesterday is like, when are we going to dance again? When are we going to dance on the streets again, Graham? That really stuck with me, and I can't stop thinking about it now. I'm like thinking, what's the thing? What's the thing that's going to happen? And we're going to be like, yeah, let's go on the streets and fucking dance. And I just can't see it. I just can't see it happening, because everything will be tinged. It'll be like, oh, well, Labour get in next time, but we've still left the EU. Oh, we get the vaccine, but 33% of the population won't take it because they believe some bullshit they watched on YouTube. Not that watching stuff on YouTube is bad, just bullshit. And yeah, so everything is sort of tinged with a bit of, you know, I can't really see myself. And I felt this when the England team did all right in the last World Cup, and then they lost against Croatia. And, you know, it's just a tiny population. It's not really a big name in the world of international football. And it was just, it was like a surprise that we got that far more than anything. And that sort of feeling of dread inside, it's going too well. It's a fluke. It'll never, and I don't know. Just keep trying to smile, I guess. Anyway, Ernie says, I think there should be election before 2024. The shit show caused total upheaval. Yes. Well, I think there should be an election before then. But the Tories will Tory. They'll try their best to make sure that that doesn't happen. So a general strike, I think, is our best bet. Is literally getting half the population just go, oh, screw this. I'm just not going to go into work. I'm not going to log on. Think about it. Everyone's working from home these days. Well, a lot of people. Good to hear you're saying that about Scotland. More English lefties have a unionist position. Most English lefties have a unionist position. The couch. Yeah, I have to admit, until the Brexit vote, I was more unionist than not, and I felt like the referendum in 2014. What upset me about it was the fact that there were some good things about it. There's some great things about it. The fact that the SNP printed a booklet about what life would look like if people in Scotland voted to leave the union. The Brexiteers learned not to do that from the SNP, because they were like, well, let's just make it vague, and then it could be anything. It could be anything you want. And then you had the fact that they allowed 16-year-olds to vote in the referendum, which was fantastic. They allowed people who lived in Scotland but weren't necessarily Scottish to vote in the referendum. Now, on the flip side of that, for the EU referendum 2 years later, which was obviously UK-wide, EU citizens weren't allowed to vote. That was over 3 million people whose lives depend, the course of their lives depends on us being part of the EU. If we leave the EU, it disrupts their lives one way or another. And so many Europeans have left, gone back to a country they barely know because they haven't lived there for 20, maybe 30 years. And it's caused a lot of mental health problems. It's the thing about these Brexiteers who are also moaning about lockdown, like Nigel Farage. Oh, you're suddenly worried about mental health problems now, are you? Whatever. And also the fact that the referendum, the EU referendum, wasn't legally binding. It was an advisory referendum, and for something that changes the constitution of anything. I think the very first time I shared a stage with Michael Dugan, the Irish Liverpool lecturer on EU law, who's fantastic, and you should follow his stuff. He pointed out that if you wanted to change the constitution of a pigeon fanciers club, you'll need a 2/3 majority. But what the Scottish referendum did, and what a lot of serious referendums do, and I'm not talking about obviously the New Zealand flag here or something, but ones that are deadly serious about the nation state and the future of the country, and something that will impact massively on every single person who lives in that place. First of all, I think it should be a supermajority, and I think that even for the next Scottish referendum, I think it needs to be 66%, or at least 60% for yes. And I think that's eminently achievable. I think that's very, very achievable considering the way that the UK is going to go over the next few years. But what bothers me, and I wish we didn't have to have another referendum because they don't half split up friendships and families, that people fall out over them. And we've seen this with Brexit. We've seen so many friendships torn apart by which way did you vote in the referendum. Like, are we going to forgive our friends who voted to pile this shit on us, to make my passport, which was one of the most powerful passports in the world, with the passport that I used to visit 201 countries and 17 territories around the world, that passport has become worth less, not worthless, but worth less than it was. It no longer will give me the right to live and work and get married and buy property and start a business and retire in 27 other countries. Actually, it's 31 other countries. I won't have those. I don't want to have that right anymore. And that to me is beyond the pale. I don't know if I can forgive people for that. It doesn't matter if it's politicians making these decisions because I hate them anyway. So I'm like, well, I don't know you. I can just hate you from a distance. But when it's your next door neighbor, when it's your auntie, when it's one of your bezies from school, and you're just like, why would you do this to me? Why would you listen to Nigel Fucktage over me? Why would you listen to a career politician, millionaire, public school wanker over someone you know has a degree in history and politics and has been to every single country in the motherfucking world? Why did I bother wasting 10 years of my life doing both of those things when you were just going to listen to some crackpot on the TV instead? And it offends me. I've got to say, you might say, oh, that's all ego, Graham. Look at your massive ego there. But I'm like, no, when it's someone that you know, it's a problem. And so, yeah, Scottish independence, I would like there to be another referendum, obviously, in the next couple of years. The SNP are going to wipe the floor with everybody next year. I don't think anyone doubts that, unless they massively drop the ball on the vaccine rollout, which I can't see them doing. A lot of people I'm hearing from Scotland, and I know the plural of anecdote isn't evidence, and I would like to see some more hard evidence on this, but I've seen some polls where it's been 55% for leaving the union. Yeah, more than that, I've heard people talking who have been unionists all their lives, and are actually saying, I've got some time now for the SNP. They've never had it before. Oh, did you see the slip today in Parliament where he called them the Scottish Nationalist Party? Yeah, thanks for that, Boris Johnson. There you go. Anyway, 2020 brought to you by Dunning and Kruger. Yeah, Dunning-Kruger. So the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is when if you're stupid, you think you're more cleverer than you really are, and if you're clever, you're full of doubts and misgivings, and you think you're stupider than you actually are. Could you see England breaking up as well? Not just Scotland, Wales leaving the Union, and the 6 provinces rejoining the Republic. Alex, I don't think England will split up. I really don't. I mean, you might have some agitation for a city-state of Liverpool because it's got a port, and that would be something that it could be done. But realistically, the geography just doesn't allow it, and it would just be really silly. I can't see it. But yeah, the 6 provinces rejoining the Republic is reference to Ulster, isn't it? Because not all of Ulster is in Northern Ireland. It's only 6 of it. There's 9 parts, and only 6 of them in Northern Ireland. It's just a crazy situation. But yeah, maybe Alex, maybe we could just do that. Maybe we could just go, right, we'll have a vote, and whoever scores more than 50% for staying in the EU or rejoining the EU, we'll just draw a line around them through people's fields, through the backyards. Just draw a line around them. You're in the EU now, and all these other people aren't. People's Front of Judea campaign for Free Galilee equals Tory party. I think it's more Labour, mate. Splitters. I'm way behind on my messages here. I'm going to have to just buzz through a load of them. People are having a click, clock, tick. Thank you, David. Let's dance. Bowie, let's dance. Dancing in the Streets. Good old Motown song there. That was covered by Bowie, wasn't it? And Mick Jagger. We hang on. We need to get some clarification here from some earlier episodes. First of all, Bill Mummy from Babylon 5 and The Twilight Zone and Lost in Space in the 70s was actually in Barnes and Barnes, not in Devo, different band. Barnes and Barnes were the ones that sang Fish Heads, Roly Poly Fish Heads. The other thing is that Steve Coogan's brother wasn't in the Soup Dragons, they were from Scotland. He was in the Mock Turtles, who were from Manchester. Or, jangly guitar, Manchester. They sound similar, but yeah, different bands. Okay, we needed to get that point of clarification in there. Just in case we get shouted at for getting things wrong when there's an internet to check things, which has taken all the fun out of just having something in your head going, oh, what's the name of that actress? What is their name? I can't remember. And then you like that for 6 hours, because that's what it used to be like when you used to not be able to look things up really easily on the internet. Right, Norman Lurch Tebbit. Yeah, he does look like Lurch. They can't stop us going for a walk. No deal, back of the neck. God bless St. Nigel. Okay. Yeah, I'm Spanish. I don't understand British politics, but why do the Tories want so many things that are obviously bad for British people? I'm not being rude or sarcastic. Roger, yeah, the thing is, it's the same with Trumpism. It's not about making everybody's life a little bit better. It's about making a few people's lives a lot better, and they're already pretty good. And it's about those people then looking down at the others and laughing at them. And that's what they get off on. That's what keeps them going. That's what keeps them warm at night. That's what makes them sleep. They think, I'm not doing so well at the moment, but at least I'm not doing as bad as that guy over there. Winning. Yeah. Sugarfree said, Roger King, it's a cult. Yeah. It's very similar aspects to it, that sort of denialism of, they just, what he's agreeing with, they just do it to make money for themselves and mates, yeah. 5 million Brits are excluded from the EU referendum, many of them living on the continent. Yes, sorry, Charlie. Absolutely, Charlie, you're spot on there. I should have mentioned that. Along with the 3 million, at least 3 million people of the EU living in Britain, there's up to 5 million Brits living in the EU who weren't given a vote either in the referendum. And if it'd been a landslide for leave, then okay, fair enough. We could probably, say, well, that it would have happened anyway. But no way would have happened anyway. And then you say, what about all the cheating, eh? And they come back to you with the cheating thing. They say, well, what about David Cameron? He sent out a pamphlet to everyone's house saying that leaving the EU would be a bad idea. That was cheating. You're like, so both sides cheated. So the race should be rerun then? If you have a football game and both sides cheat because they're all on steroids or something, you don't just let the goals stand because that's the way it would have happened anyway. You rerun the match. That's what a responsible FA would do, but, whatever. I'm just saying it makes me sad. Great people and good beer. Nah. I don't think we've got either anymore. Alex says, with Scottish elections next year, do you think the SNP will have a mandate to hold another referendum like they did in Caledonia, even if it wasn't legally binding? I said this the other day, but what I think the SNP are going to do, what I would do if I was advising the SNP, would be to get as many people in the international community on their side. So what you do is you win the election massively, 60% of the popular vote, something like that. And then you turn around and say, okay, we've got all these constituencies in for the Scottish Parliament. We've got all these MSPs. MSPs, is it? Yeah, MSPs. And basically, you then shop around the EU, NATO, the UN, big international organizations, and you say, oh, isn't this a bit unfair? Isn't it a bit unfair? It's a bit unfair, isn't it a bit unfair? Get them on side. Spend about 12 months doing that. And then eventually it'll get to a point where someone taps Boris Johnson on the soldier. Someone taps Boris Johnson on the shoulder and says, give Scotland the referendum. And it'll be Joe Biden. So there you go. And Britain will go, okay then, America, we'll just do what you tell us to. And that'll be, yeah. I was talking about this, the fact that Tom Brooks, who Professor Tom Brooks, he's Dean of Law and Government at Durham University, and I've done some podcasts with him. We're in a cafe for some reason. And he said, studied politics for years. He's got a doctorate in politics in America, and he came to the UK. And it wasn't until he moved to the United Kingdom that he ever heard the term special relationship. Because it might be special to us, but it's not so special to them. Unrequited love. Oh. Anyway, so basically, Wuthering Heights by Kate Bush, that should be our new national anthem. They love a bit of cruelty, yeah, the Tories do, yeah. But yeah, I think the SNP will get a mandate next year, definitely. And I don't think they should go ahead with an illegal referendum because that'll make them look bad. I think they should just go ahead because there'll be so much pressure on the government in Westminster to give them that. And if they can get Labour on side and Lib Dems and the Greens, that'll be great as well. But Labour are a bit funny about unionism, aren't they? They're like, oh, but we want to win seats in Scotland. And I'm like, oh, just let it go. Just let it go. It's already dead. Just play that song from Frozen. I fell out with my Brexit, mate. Yeah. I fell out with my Brexit as well, mate. A Brexit show. No, I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to. I just thought I'd make a crap joke there, but no, I've fallen out with friends over it, and it still bothers me now. It still bothers me now. The Swiss have referendums on everything they do, which makes them less important. And if the process is mucked up, they run them again. How good is that? Oh, hang on, we mucked up the process. Someone said something that wasn't true. Let's run this referendum again with the facts. Everyone where I worked Brexit, I work in a warehouse. Everyone where I work voted Brexit. I work in a warehouse. They voted themselves and me out of a job. Patrick, that must drive you absolutely mad, mate. I'm so sorry. One of my oldest friends voted Brexit. When I asked why, he said it was to get two fingers up to the establishment. Yeah, I've met a few of them as well. Lexiteers, I'm gonna stick two fingers up to the establishment by doing what Boris Johnson, who went to Eton and Oxford, and Nigel Farage, who went to a posh private school and was a millionaire city banker before going into politics. Yeah, but it was like one of them, wasn't it? It was like you had David Cameron on one side, half-arsely going, yeah, we should stay in the EU, when a few years earlier, be going, we should pull out the EU. Oh, screw the EU. Oh, no, hang on, I'm on this side now. Okay. And that's something that you learn, I guess, when you become a politician. You just words come out your mouth and you don't have to mean them. And so, like, a few years down the line, a few months down the line, you can just say the absolute opposite. And you don't even have to address the fact that you did say the opposite thing a few months before or a few years before. You just pretend you didn't. That's just bonkers. You can't say, oh, well, I did think that, but then I did some more research and I changed my mind. And everyone go, oh, wow, a politician can change their mind and it's not a bad thing. But then you'll have the other side going, flip, flop, you changed your mind, you're flipping and you're flopping. And you're like, you know what? If you change your mind because the evidence changes, then that's a good thing. That's science, isn't it? If you just keep your mindset no matter what, no matter how much your body's falling apart and things aren't working, you just keep going down that route. That's mad. That's the opposite of science. That's just being a fucking crazy person. Anyway, Graham. Someone say Graham. Graham. Oh, I missed it. My messages have moved up again. Too many messages. I've got 12 minutes left, guys. So I'm gonna. Mummy is apparently pronounced Moomy. Oh God, John, you got me on that one. I didn't know that. Okay, well, Bill Moomy then. Moomy. Wales has passed a bill allowing local councils to switch to proportional representation and give the vote to 16-year-olds. That's really good. Well done, Wales. There's a few Tories in Liverpool. Believe it or not, they keep quiet. I know. There's a few Tories in Liverpool. They all live in Childwall and Woolton. I'll stick Liverpool in with Northern Ireland. They can join Ireland, take Anglesey also. Sugar-free, good one. Derek Hatton, remember? Oh God, Derek Hatton, please don't. I remember I was at an Oasis gig in 1998 at the Royal Court, and I got seat. Normally at a gig, I'd like to stand up and be in the mosh pit, but we had seats, and I was sitting down, and Derek Hatton was sitting like 2 seats ahead of us, so we were sitting like, oh, I wish we had like popcorn to throw at the back of his head. And then a guy like Papa Scouser comes up, and he sees Derek Hatton in front of us, and he just goes, "Hey, Dexy, what happened to the Labour council, eh? You fucking wanker!" Like that, and everyone laughed. at Derek Hatton. It was a beautiful moment. I wish I had a camera. Anyway, so any shade of hope Brexit doesn't happen. No, Brexit's happened. Technically, we're in the transition period. I'm hoping that they'll say, hey, let's have an implementation period of a year at least, and then we can maybe push things back. But we've got a couple of days now to decide whether we're going to go for no deal or not. And the government's saying, oh, check on the website. Businesses with the ticking clock, check on the website. And you go on the website, there's no information. There's no information on that. I looked up to see the customs. So what's going to happen with customs? Duty free. What's going to happen with duty free? Are we allowed duty free again? And if we are, is it 2 bottles like it used to be? 6 cans of lager and 2 packets of cigarettes. Yay! Although you shouldn't smoke. I don't smoke. Don't smoke, kids. And you go on the website, it goes, oh, nothing will change. Nothing will change. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And you're like, but there's no section that says, if it is a hard Brexit, if we leave it no deal, this is what's going to happen. It just says, it should be fine. And then you go onto different pages, you just go, oh, it should be fine. And it's like it's written by an idiot. It probably was. He was well hard. Ooh, Degsy. Any shade of hope? No, I've read that one. Love it when Brexiteers criticise the idea of Scotland leaving the Union, lacking in awareness. They don't realise their own hypocrisy. That's from Simon Wyndham. You're absolutely right, mate. It's like really funny. Like, we're better together. We're better as a union, all working to further the interests of the people who live in the union. And you're like, yeah, I agree. Strangely. How come you weren't saying that 4 years ago, mate? Thoughts on how the Republic of Ireland will be impacted, or maybe return on investment. I'm living over here and couldn't vote for the referendum. This is the thing. I was talking about this the other day, actually. Brexit isn't just a selfish, idiotic act. It's more like a suicide bombing, because it's not just the United Kingdom that's going to get fucked to kingdom come. It's going to be all the countries around the United Kingdom. The further away you are from the United Kingdom, the better you're going to weather the storm of Brexit. But you're going to have farms in the Republic of Ireland closing down because they won't be able to get the dairy products to the UK fast enough, or if they can, it's going to be a 35% tariff. You're going to have food producers in the Netherlands having problems at the borders, so they lose loads of customers. We are costing our neighbours in the neighbouring nations, we're costing them billions, absolute billions. And for what? We're upsetting all of our neighbours. And the Brexiteers seem to get off on this. They go, ha 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 ha, we're gonna, ruin things for them as well. And you're like, oh my God, really? That's your MO here? You're burning down your own house, and you're like, well, my neighbours is going to get a bit singed and all. He's got to pay for a paint job and everything. And you're like, what? Why would that ever be a good thing? And I keep pointing out, they go, oh, the EU, oh, they've done all these terrible things to us. They took me hair, and then they took me erections, and then my wife left me for the EU. And you're like, okay, there's 29 members in NATO, 21 of them are in the EU. So what? That's over a third, sorry, 2/3 of NATO, of our NATO allies, who signed a document saying, if Britain is invaded, we will come to the defense of Britain. And they're the enemy, apparently. Our NATO allies are the enemy. And the good guys are Russia. Well, the Russian government. Sorry, stop saying Russia, Graham. I'm upsetting people. You could stand in for James O'Brien. I couldn't, because I don't think I could go for 3 hours each day without swearing. But oh my God, did anyone listen to James O'Brien? Was that today when he did the thing where he had the lunatics call up about the vaccines, or was that yesterday? I'm losing my days here. It was terrifying. It was like absolute lunatics saying, I'm not gonna, the vaccines, they've got pills in, and they've got microchips, and they're gonna track us, and then they're gonna switch us off. There's one on the phone talking to an actual phone that's full of microchips, that's got a tracking system on it, that's connected to the international worldwide GPS system, and the internet and Bluetooth, and they're talking into this phone saying they're going to put a microchip in my. And James O'Brien said something which I thought was quite funny. He said, "I'm quite boring. I'm quite boring," and I thought this as well. because I'm sitting, I'll be cleaning up the kitchen, and I'm just wiping down the surfaces, doing the dishes. It's really boring. No one wants to watch that. I wouldn't put that on YouTube. That's the thing about the Truman Show. There'd be so much in the Truman Show that would be truly epically boring. It'd be like watching the Big Brother. Remember Big Brother? Just a stream, and you could just watch. You could just watch all day. You watch people sleep. This is crap. Most people are boring most of the time. Then they might do something exciting for a little bit of the day. But most of the time, it's really boring. No one cares. No one wants to track you. They don't have to. You've got a Nectar card, haven't you? You can see what you're buying. You buy things on Amazon. That's logged, obviously, and they know where you live. I mean, okay. They're all out to get you. I think they've already got you, mate. Okay, quickly back to the messages. Karen called in yesterday on Mr. James. Was that yesterday? I thought it was yesterday. And James, yeah, the first caller who was completely crazy was called Karen. And I was like, the workhouse will be back soon, says Plum Duff. Jesus, would it get to that? Would it? I don't think it would, but Tom Monk says, my brother and many friends voted for Trump. You can pick your family, but you can't pick your friends. Yeah, Tom. I mean, sorry, I said that the wrong way. You can't pick your family, but you sure can pick your friends. Tom, I had a similar experience in Bocas del Toro in Panama, where I was living at the time, and Trump won, and there were a lot of retirees from America there who I've been friends with and I'd hung out with for the previous 2.5 years that I'd lived there. And it just broke my heart that they were like, yes, this man is going to destroy the international cooperation of NATO. Yeah, he's going to trash the climate change agreement so that basically the planet's only got 80 years left of habitable life. Yes, half the Great Barrier Reef's going to be dead by 2020. Yes, half the Amazon's going to be burned and we'll be doing nothing about it. Plus the fact that the guy hangs out with, he went to parties with the most famous convicted paedophile in America. He went to parties with him when Jeffrey Epstein was pedophiling. And you mentioned this to the Trump fans, like, no, he's actually there to stop the pedophiles. I read it on QAnon. Well, you can't read it on QAnon because QAnon's like a video game online. It's very strange. One of those old type-in video games, where you used to like Zork, where you had to type in where you had to go. Do your research. That's like the little pill they give you. So you start researching by watching stupid videos on YouTube and you get drawn in. I'd rather fall off a cliff when it comes to Brexit. So it gives us a better argument to rejoin than have some bodge job deal, which will still be awful in reality. Yeah, Alex, I've had that conversation. I think you got a good point, but I really don't want to have to live through it. I really don't want to have to live through a cliff edge Brexit. I don't want my partner. I don't want my stepkids living through it. I think it's just going to be an absolute bloody nightmare. And we've already had enough of a nightmare this year from COVID. Yes, a vaccine that kills us all off, unlike the virus. Well, this is a point that I always make, and I'm going to end on this note because it's just coming up to 10 o'clock and I've got to wrap up soon. Medicine Sans Frontier. The people I met when I was traveling through Africa, I met people from Medicine Sans Frontier in a lot of countries. I met some in Sierra Leone. I met some in Liberia. I met some in Ghana. I met some in Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo. And they were just the most incredible people I've ever met. They were there to administer medicine and vaccinations. And they would travel to some of those dangerous parts of the world and give these vaccinations to kids. And if the plan was to kill them, if the plan was to give them autism, you're saying that these people who I see as heroes, I see them as the best of us, are actually the worst of us. And they're motivated by going all the way to Africa, putting their own lives on the line to travel to Goma in the Democratic Republic of Congo to give children autism. And when it comes to that, you're like, what? Why would a pediatrician train for years to be a pediatrician just to harm children? It's not a job that a pediatrician is usually that dedicated to doing. They're there to help, They're there because they feel like this compulsion to help people and to make them the bad guys, to make Bill Gates the bad guy, the guy who's, given 3 malaria nets to half of bloody Asia, saved countless lives. You just turn around and go, what did you do? What did you do, mate? Oh, compare with that. We won the war. You didn't. There's a great sketch by stand-up sketch by Doug Stanhope where he talks about this thing of like, we won the war. And he goes, oh, did we? I don't remember that. I remember going out for a few drinks and then, grabbing a couple of burgers on the way home. Don't remember winning a war. I'm sure that was other people. But yeah, we'll take credit for it. Why not? We won the war. That's what we did. If I could be 1% as influential for the good of the world as Bill Gates has been with his anti-malaria push, I'd honestly die with a bloody big smile on my face, knowing that I'd done some good in this world. And to turn him into the bad guy is it's so crazy. It's hard to know where to begin. It's like when you meet someone who's a big Brexit fanatic or a big Trumpster, and they tell you, and your brain goes, so many things that are wrong, and you just don't know where to start. It's like, okay, let's take this from the beginning. But yeah, it's. I find that with Brexit, the best way through to people is generally going down the route of explaining to them that the rest of the world is really poor and there's nothing we can really do about that. And I can sort of pull rank when I talk about that because I've experienced it more than most. With Trump, I don't know, because I've had that conversation of why is he busy mates with Jeffrey Epstein? It doesn't get me anywhere. In fact, nothing you say negative about Trump is real to these people because they just go, fake news, fake news, fake news. And yeah. Oh, well, sorry. I wish I had all the answers. Life would be so much better. So Tom's going, I'm going. Night, everyone. Attila's going. Thanks, Sugar Free. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. I'll be back tomorrow at 10 o'clock, I hope, all being well. Give us a like if you haven't yet before I go. And yeah, thanks for chatting with me. I'm sorry if I missed any of your messages, but there's a lot of them. But yeah, thanks for taking part. And I will see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock for the Hughes at 10. Bye.